kind of work that I'm doing right now. And I say to you that if you begin to take a conscious effort to find out what it is that you're supposed to do, I say that it can literally save your life. I said that it can literally save your life. 85% of the American public, according to recent studies, are going to jobs that they hate, working on jobs that do not challenge them.
Hey everybody. Hi. Welcome back. I am Rachel from Rachel's Fitness and Wellness, and I am here today with a special guest, one of my BFFs. Her name is Monique, Mo. And today's topic is going to be something that I get asked about a lot, and eating healthy on a budget is our topic. So one of the first things I hear from my clients when I talk about healthy food choices or give them their food list or their meal plans, the first thing they comment on is how expensive their food is and how much it costs groceries to buy organics, to buy chia seeds, hemp seed, all those types of things that I typically talk about. And then they get discouraged by that. So my groceries are going to cost me $300 a week. Forget it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be eating healthy. Forget it. And it tends to be an all or none type of principle. If I can eat healthy on a budget, then I'm just not even going to bother. I'm just going to keep eating my same old crap that I eat. So I thought today I'd give you a special gift and have Mo, who is a pro at saving money and budgeting. She is hardcore. She's amazing. And I cannot pretend that I am good at that. So I will not be the one talking about that with you today. I am definitely a work in progress, and Mo has taught me lots and lots. And she is here to give you some of her biggest tips. Some are very basic ideas, and some are a little bit more in depth. If you want deeper ideas, if you're already doing quite well with a budget, but you want deeper ideas, more ways to cut your money rather than the basic ideas, then feel free to send us a message on my Facebook page, Rachel's Fitness and Wellness. Emma will be happy to answer that for you. And I always say, you're either going to be putting money into your health now as a preventative measure, or you're going to be putting money into your health later, dealing with diseases, high blood pressure, cancer, heart disease, anything like that, being overweight, having to go on medications, having to miss time in your job, having to purchase all these alternative types of things to help with your health. So for me, it's like, let's put the money in now and feel great while we're doing so, or we're going to have to be putting it in later. But for those of you who perhaps don't share that same notion as me, Mo is going to give you some amazing ideas today. So let's welcome her.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's just a top 10 list. I'll start from kind of the bottom to 10, and then we'll go all the way up to 1. So the first one is I use flyer apps and points cards. I use the PC Plus, which is for Zehrs. So for any locals around here, that's where that's where Rachel and I do most of our shopping, is at Zehrs. The PC Plus Points is an app. It's so easy. You just show your card on your phone at the cash. There's Flip app and there's Checkout 51. So the Flip app is more for like price matching. So then if you can just show that and then they price match. And the Checkout 51 is more you scan your receipt and you get cash back.
Can we talk about the PC Plus card for a sec?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I was very resistant to this for a while. I don't really know why, and the cashier kept saying, you need to use this, you need to use this. So for those of you who shop at Zehrs, might know it's a little bit pricier. However, we're from a small city, and that's the store closest to us that has the best organic options and the healthiest food choices.
At a reasonable price.
Right. So using this card, basically all that happens is they find offers that kind of coincide with the typical food choices that you purchase. And every week you get new offers, maybe 10 or so. And it'll say, like, if you buy a Lara bar this week, or for every $2 you spend on Lara bars, you're going to get 100 points or whatever the point system is. So all you have to do is load your offers, look to what they're offering you, and if you purchase those, you get extra points. So I've been using it for, I don't know, maybe 6 months, and I've missed a bunch of times in between there. And I have about $180 worth of points, so I can get $180 worth of groceries for nothing. just for collecting points. You don't have to pay, and a lot of it's food that you're going to buy anyway. So
Yeah, I got $210 last year in free groceries.
sweet.
Yeah, so it's a really good one.
Good.
Okay, so the next one is to make easy healthy meals with easy ingredients. Don't have to buy things that you've never heard of. Try to stick to the easy, simple stuff. So like a dinner example would be chicken breast, brown rice, a mixed green salad with homemade dressing. So you can buy a big bag of brown rice. We always eat brown rice. So you buy a bag of brown rice on sale or just a bulked, so it's cheaper, and then you can make a whole bunch of meals with that. Like an easy breakfast is oats with hemp seed, chia seed, almond butter, and fruit. You can just have, you always can have oats. You cook. We do a lot of snacks with oats. The breakfast, they're easy to make, and then you just throw in your hemp seed and chia seed.
And can I interrupt you?
Yeah, of course.
And also that's one of the things I suggest as a holistic nutritionist, simplifying your meals. Not only is it going to save you money, but it's also the best thing for your body. So rather than buying these fancy ingredients that you find on shelves that aren't actually food, they're full of 50 ingredients. You don't know what you're putting into your body. If you can simplify your meals and go back to the basics, you tend to be eating healthier anyways. So you're eating simple ingredients. So if you're eating just oats, hemp seed, and nut butter, anything like that, then you can avoid those processed ingredients and additives in your food that are really making you sick. So double whammy.
Next one is have meatless meals, because we all know that meat is, especially organic, grass-fed meats, are super expensive when not bought on sale. So having meatless meals will probably save you a lot. Like I'm talking beans, lentils, tofu, even like hemp seed and chia seed. It's just a lot cheaper than having chicken or turkey or anything every day for lunch and supper.
Can you give us an example of your favorite meatless meal?
My favorite meatless meal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have so many. I do actually we had it the other night, the quinoa and lentil bowl. So quinoa, I forgot about that. So quinoa and lentil bowl with avocado in it, and then whatever veggies. Like I had kale, so I just made a kale salad and then put it all together.
So you just throw a whole bunch of things together.
Just throw a bunch of things together.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other night I felt like doing something in the crock pot to have ready for the week. So we've talked about food prep, which I think Mo is going to get into. So I won't try to talk too much about that.
Well,
but
we can go on forever about that.
Yeah, totally. But I got out my crock pot, I put some veggie broth in there, I threw green lentils, red lentils, salsa, what else did I put in there? Edamame beans, a couple of little things that were sitting in my pantry, and threw it all together. And not only are those things quite cheap, because you can buy them in bulk, and I hope I'm not taking up all your points.
No, that's okay.
But you can just throw them in there, and that's a good meatless meal. I'll just throw a bunch of stuff together, which is why I like your bowl ideas.
Yeah, and the other thing with beans and lentils, never buy them by the can. Always buy them in the bag, the dried, because they're so easy. If you have a rice cooker or a slow cooker, they're so easy to prepare.
You just throw them in there.
Yeah, and and the bag you get like, I've never counted it, but the bag I'm sure you probably get like 4 or 5 cans, probably
at least,
for the same price. So it's a lot cheaper.
Good.
Know your prices. So you always got to check your price. Always pay attention to how much it is, because then if you see it somewhere else or at another grocery store and you're like, oh, I can get it cheaper there, then go get it there. Always know your pricing. And also know when you're buying in bulk, you need to make sure that it's cheaper, because there are times where they will make it seem like the bigger package is cheaper, but if you actually check the price per gram of what you're paying, the bigger price is more expensive than if you bought 2 of the small ones. So you really have to know your pricing. And a lot of the stores now have where it tells you how much you're paying per gram for certain things. So if it's like 0.8 something per gram for one thing, but 0.7 something for the other, well, obviously the other is better.
Do you find you have specific items that are almost always cheaper to buy in bulk?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't touch upon this in here, like for the Costco, like going to Costco, but there's certain things at Costco that makes it worth having a membership.
Give us your top 3.
Coconut oil, hemp seed, and hemp seed, chia seeds, quinoa, brown rice. Most of that is way cheaper. And I like the bulk barn too, but when they have the organic stuff. But you have to make sure it's on sale. And again, you need to know how much you're paying at Costco or Zehrs for how much you're going to buy at bulk. Now, the only thing that I've been kind of told for bulk barn is sometimes the stuff sits there a long time. So it's kind of, it's not fresh. But you just have to know what, yeah. I mean, there's been times where I'm like, I'm here, I'm going to just get it.
Right.
So you just got to. But it's really important. And eventually you'll know, because most of us buy the same groceries. Like, we never really, unless something, you know, there's a fancy meal you want to make. But you mostly get to know what your pricing is.
So to know your prices, when you started out, did you have a list of the different stores and the common items that you purchased and compare the prices, or is that something that's just in your head?
It's just something in my head, because I wanted to do that, where I would know how much, but I never got there because I just knew it. Like, how much per pound per banana. And you know, like when you buy bananas, it's like, well, you know, normally they're 99 cents. Well, now they're 79 cents. You know, you just kind of get to know what you pay.
And for those like me, I'd probably make a list of this store, this store, this store, and just write down the common things that I purchased, because I would never remember it. So I would probably make a list comparing stores.
Yeah, and eventually you probably wouldn't even refer to that list, because you just know.
Eventually.
You just know, yeah. The next one kind of touches to what I said about the bananas. So making sure you know which fruit you don't have to buy organic. So I was asking Rachel about this. We've talked about this before. So you were saying to Google Clean 15, and it kind of tells you which fruit you don't need to buy organic, which bananas is probably on that list. I haven't checked in a long time. But the ones that I kind of do would be the thick skin ones.
Right. Yeah, so there's something called the Dirty Dozen, which are the 12 most commonly heavily sprayed with pesticides, fruits, vegetables, the produce. Those are the ones that ideally you would like to purchase organic, because again, they're very highly sprayed. And then the Clean 15 are the 15 items of produce that aren't as heavily sprayed, or that have a thicker skin, like Mo said. For example, bananas, they have a really thick skin, or pineapple, where if you're going to pick and choose what you buy organic, you're going to choose more from the Dirty Dozen list. Something like broccoli, where it's closer to the ground and it doesn't have any kind of shell or layering that will protect it from the spray. So if you're going to be buying organic, which maybe you'll talk a little bit more about, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Then you can pick and choose. You don't have to buy everything organic. So you can pick and choose the top ones. Maybe on the Dirty Dozen there are 2 that you buy often, and then maybe those are the 2 that you'll invest a little bit more money in each week.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I always check. I won't buy the same thing every week. So apples I buy organic, because they're the worst ones.
Me too.
So we don't always have those all the time. It's just, you know, if sometimes they go on sale, then I buy them on sale. Or again, it just depends. Which I kind of touch about meal prepping, so then you can kind of, we can talk about that more then. Okay. The other way to buy organic food, which we're a part of, is a local CSA. So you get a weekly food share. So around here there's a couple of farmers that they do, now they're not certified organic, but I've been to the farm, we've talked, and I know that they're organic. They don't spray, and you know, you just get to know what kind of practices they use. And then you become, it's like a food share. So you pay so much for, so I'll just use mine for example. Last year we paid $600 for, it went from June till late October because it was so nice here. And every week we got a huge basket of like organic, whatever was coming, whatever was she had harvesting. So most of the time it was like tomatoes every week. Just beans. So every week I had that, and then I just made different meals from what we had. And the other thing too is with the local farmer, once you become like part of the CSA, you can even do energy exchange with them to make it even cheaper. And honestly, that whole thing, I mean, we're only 2, but that whole basket like lasted me a week and even longer. There was some things that, which I talk about, is I froze, or I made a recipe and then froze it, or dehydrated stuff. So it's just, I think like, and I think the CSA is a really good idea. That's, which I tried to get you on board with.
I'll get there.
Just because you get, I figured that I probably had about, I figured that I would probably get, like, what I got would probably, I'd probably spend about $80 to $90 at the grocery store, and I paid about, I don't know, 20 to 30 bucks.
Wow.
So it's a huge saving.
And the good thing about CSA too is that they obviously are giving you what they're growing at the time. So not only are you eating locally, which provides your body more nutrients because it doesn't have to be shipped all the way across the world, but you're also eating in season. And that's when the fruit or vegetable is the most full of nutrients. At the time that it's supposed to grow in nature is when you're going to be eating it. So another couple benefits.
Actually, I want to cut in there. I just thought about that. That's another thing that I do is I try to buy what's in season, which is cheaper.
Totally.
Because if you're buying squash in spring, well, you're paying, you know, it's really expensive. So try to base your meals on what's in season.
And there's lists you can type in Ontario growing season, and it'll tell you the typical fruits and vegetables that are growing at that time. And one other thing I wanted to say about the CSA, I know people are going to be wondering where the heck they could find this. So can you give us tips on how you found, or you can even name the one that you're using?
Yeah, I used the winter time. We did Creek Shore Farms, which is around here in the region, and the other one I do in the summer is Tree and Twig. It just depends how she has kind of limited space, but in Creek Shore Farms, I think they were deciding to do one in the summertime, so that's around here. But honestly, we just Googled local CSA, and it just came, and you just type in your region and it'll come up. There's actually a website for CSA.
Yeah.
So they're all joined on there.
And I believe with most CSAs, I don't know if it applies with the one that you're doing, they have different sizes too. So you can get different size shares, right?
Creek Shore Farms has that, yeah.
If there's only a couple of you make it a smaller share. And if there's a larger family, you make it a larger share.
And again, like the one that I'm participating in, you pay so much up front, and then you can pay so much a month, as opposed to having to pay that big amount of money. Yeah, the whole $600 at the beginning.
Awesome.
Yeah, but you can get lots of information of how CSAs work online.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is making a weekly grocery budget and sticking to it.
Oh.
And making it realistic, like, you know, how much you spend to that. So to make sure that you're gonna spend that much, you're not always gonna spend more. So just average, like figure out what you normally spend on average, and then make a budget. Now in that budget, I want to make sure that you include going out to restaurants, or even if you're the daily buying a coffee every day, you need to include that in there, because you will realize how much you're paying to go to a restaurant will buy you, one time at a restaurant could buy you a week's worth of your groceries.
So the umbrella term of consumable items, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't go out as much, because I would rather eat at home than going out, because you end up making your own meals. When you go, you're like, ugh. Like, I mean, we all know, you know, you got to watch where you go. And you will realize, if you write it down, how much you spend buying lunch. Even if you work and there's a cafeteria and you buy your lunch, you'd be surprised how much, if it costs you $5 every day, how much food you can get for $5 and how long it can go. Like, so it's I don't know, it's amazing.
So maybe step one, if we're going to break it down, step one is to look at what you typically spend in, or what you think you typically spend in a week, and spend maybe a week or two writing everything down and get that number down. And decide on a budget from there. So if you spend, let's say, just to make this easy, $500 a week on all your consumable items, maybe set your budget at something under $500. Looking at your overall budget as well, and deciding how much you would like to cut, make a goal. It could be a fun little challenge, and then going from there.
Yeah, because you putting it down on paper, every penny you spend on coffee or your morning breakfast, or like I said, a cafeteria, or even going out one night a week with your family, you will realize, you're like, wow, I could buy so much better groceries. Like, lots of people are like, oh, organic's so expensive. It's not that expensive when you take into account how many times you're going out for, I don't want to say fast food, because there are some healthier options, but how many times you go out to a restaurant, or just stop and get something quick. So
and
that's really important.
There was the one time where myself and a bunch of my girlfriends went out, and Mo couldn't come for whatever reason. And do you remember I texted you?
Oh yeah, the bill.
And like, I blew my budget and I don't care. I'm drinking margaritas. So it's always a fine balance, right?
There is.
But overall,
yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of in that weekly budget. It's like also things that you buy where you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't buy that. I'm just gonna eat healthier instead, you know. Or instead of going to the movies with all the kids, we're gonna watch a movie at home, and what I would have spent at the movies, I'm gonna put into healthy eating groceries.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good example.
And things like, if we're going to talk about the movies for a sec, I bring a lot of our snacks. Usually we buy a bag of popcorn, but otherwise we bring water and I know you're not supposed to, but we go to the movies almost every week, so I feel like I support them. But we bring in a lot of healthy snacks and our own water. What else another thing I found helpful when you're starting to track your budget for your food is to keep your receipts from the grocery store. And then when you're like, okay, where can I cut? Then you can look over your receipts and say, okay, I just spent $3 on a Lara bar. I probably didn't need that. I probably could have made a whole tray for that similar price point. So saving your receipts and having a look through when you're deciding to cut.
Yeah, that's a good. That's what I mean. Like, we can probably talk about this for a long time, but I want to make it smaller. Next one is a big one. Make all of your meals. And snacks. Like, there's so many easy snacks that you can make, and like cheaply. Like, I just made some this morning. It's oats and bananas. Well, oats and bananas are really cheap to make.
For your cookies?
I turn them into muffins. Yeah. It's just so easy to make. When I added some honey, you know. So it's just, there's so many, and even for supper, like these. I'm hooked right now on these one pan meals, where you put in the oven, like you got your vegetable, your potato, and your meat. I love those right now. You just throw them in the oven and they're ready. Like, it's just so easy. And again, I'm touching on this. Eat in instead of going out. It's way cheaper and way healthier. And not buying pre-packaged food, even though it's healthy. I'll just use an example. There's this new thing, you can buy frozen avocado pieces. And it's organic, but you're paying for them to cut it, you're paying for them to package it. It's so much cheaper if you just buy your avocados, mash them up, throw them in an ice cube tray, freeze them, and then you have it.
Okay, we have to tell a story now. I ran into my older husband at the grocery store like last week or the week before. And I was like, look what I found. So they've got prepackaged avocado chunks now. I was all excited. And she just looks at me and says, Rachel, you can buy those way cheaper if you just buy the avocado. And I was like, darn it, I knew I should have told you.
Yeah.
But she was right.
And I mean, like, there is packaged food that's healthy, but it's more expensive because you're paying for them to do what you should be doing.
Totally.
So just a good way.
That's a good example.
Yeah, that's a good example. I had to use that one. Making all your meals. Use your slow cooker, your rice cooker, like I said, the one pan meals. Like, it's just, there's so many ways to make it easy. You can go to Pinterest and just go easy healthy meals, and they'll come up with so many.
Pinterest, yeah.
Yeah, Pinterest.
Type in quick, healthy recipes. Yeah. You'll find a million. And then you can categorize it by like dinners, muffins, cookies.
Yeah, and then just go back to them. And again, like, for me, we have a lot of repeat meals because we're on a routine. It's just easier. I know the days where I come here to work out. I know that I got to eat earlier, so I just make something that I know I'll eat earlier, and then it's easy. Throw it in a slow cooker or whatever.
Right.